Hi everyone, it's Allison from Fathom 5 Tarot, and I'm just doing a super quick little video this morning. I've been terrible about making videos, but it's been such a busy fall, and I have a busy day. It's Canadian Thanksgiving today. It's a gorgeous day outside. I just came back from taking my dogs out for a beautiful walk, and it's cold, but the leaves are starting to turn. I'm fairly far south in Ontario, so we still have a lot of leaf turning to go. I was up north last week for a week, and they were just gorgeous there. And I'm really thankful for many things. And I'm going to spend today doing some cooking, which I'm excited about. My husband's coming back home after being away for work for 3 days, and he works night shifts, so he's going to sleep. And he is going to wake up to a Thanksgiving dinner, which it doesn't happen that often that I cook turkey because I'm vegetarian, aspiring vegan. My daughter's vegetarian and my husband is not. So I can't cook I can't reach into a turkey and pull out the. But I bought just a pre-stuffed turkey breast frozen for him that I'm going to cook, and I am going to make a cheesecake for dessert because my daughter's not a big fan of pumpkin pie and vegetables, and I think I might even make a soup for later this week. I have a great sweet potato soup, which is nice and fall-y, so I'm going to spend the day cooking and doing some work for my job. Anyway, I thought I would take a little break and talk about some October decks. This is sort of, oh, sorry, my dog is demanding attention. This is sort of a VR to Tom Benjamin, who I've just recently started watching. And he did a video about his spoopy decks. So spoopy, like cute spooky. And I love it. And it turns out, actually, I agree with Tom Benjamin about everything. Like everything he says, I'm like, yes, right on. So I'll link his video below so you can check it out if you're interested. I've always thought I should do favorites for each month, but I tend to be pretty monogamous, so I'm like, does anybody want to hear from me about the same deck I've talked about before? But I already know what my October favorites are going to be because it's October. For a Canadian, I really like Thanksgiving. So while I've been like fall and I've got a big pumpkin on my table and I've got my fall wreath on the front door, I like to have Thanksgiving have its time and then really go full on Halloween. So it starts tomorrow, really today, but whatever. So I thought I'd talk about my spoopy decks. I don't have nearly as many, but I do have some. So let's talk about them. So I'm going to start with oracles. Shush. Oh, he's so demanding. I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to have a sip of coffee. I was up really late last night, just being dumb. I don't know why I stayed up too late. I just wasn't tired. And now I'm tired from my big day of cooking. Not smart. Look at, you can tell where the sun is by where I lean. Oh, okay. So it's hot in here. I'm going to take off my hat. I'm going to start with oracles because I don't really use oracle decks very much. I have a few, and I've talked about this before, but tarot is really my thing. But I'm going to start, of course, with the Halloween oracle, Stacey DeMarco. I got this used from someone who was selling it at a really decent price. I've been hemming and hawing about it for years, just because I love Halloween, and I love Halloween. These are the backs. This style of art is not really my jam. They're really glossy, which is also not really my jam. But Halloween is my jam. And there are some cards that are less, I think I don't like the photorealistic humans. I'm less bothered by animals for some reason, although that doesn't look like a photo. That looks like a drawing. But the photorealistic humans, it's just not a style that really works for me. But it is a beautiful deck with a good little guidebook. And I do like to use the guidebook with oracle decks because I like to hear what the author has to say about it. Night Song. And this is a great fall deck to look at. Spooky, and I love it. So it's fun. So the Halloween Oracle by Stacey DeMarco. And it's funny because I don't think the backs actually really suit the fronts. It's very cute and cartoony for the photorealism that's on the front, but who cares? It's a Halloween deck, and I love it. The other Oracle deck that I have, which I never use, I pull it out at Halloween because it is cute, and I look at it, and I don't do anything with it, but I found it at a used bookstore for really cheap. It's this little box, Gillian Kemp, Good Witch, Bad Witch. Sweet Spells and Wicked Witchcraft. 52 entertaining, enchanting cards, and a 64-page spell book. So it's quite a small little set. That's the book there. And it's just kitschy. It just is what it is. It's sort of like 52 cards, one for each week of the year, and the good witches and bad witches, and you put them out in different spreads, and you sort of count up the good witches and bad witches. And you see if your answer is yes or no. So even if I loved it, I don't know if I'd love that sort of binary part of it. So I do love it because it's adorable. The cards are tiny. I'm not usually a fan of mini decks, but for a Halloween themed deck, I will absolutely get a mini deck. These are the backs. Again, they're little. So not quite reversible, which doesn't matter. It's not a tarot deck. I don't read reversals anyways, but so there's a little, I guess the good witch gets a cat and the bad witch gets a frog and she's frowning. Again, those binary things I don't really love. But each one is a cute little witch. And it would be fun, for if you did, hang on. This way. So that's a good witch, obviously, the love witch. And here's a good counterpoint to it. The hell hath no fury witch. But I think she's kind of a badass. So, who cares? The tortured witch. The broomstick witch. That's in some of these too. I think it was maybe a reach to get to 52. But there are 4 element witches. The earth witch, which might be, fun little indicators, or you could throw them into something. And then directions, east. And then moon phases, new moon. So I don't know, it's really cute. There's a Halloween witch, which is that good or bad? I guess it says in the book. I think it's good. But you could see how some of the imagery associated with ghost, the raven, maybe someone would say that's bad. Like fire witch. It's awesome. Let's see what else. Like the warty witch with a frog. She can't help having warts. I don't know. But the illustrations are adorable. I like the hedge witch a lot. literally a hedge witch. Like the bat witch too. I love bats, and bats are critical. So while I don't do anything, I don't do anything with it except for pull it out in October and put it on my shelf and just enjoy the Octoberness of it all. Sorry, I'm gonna try and adjust so I'm not coming into that. Oh, is that worse? Guys, one day I will get better at this. I swear. I keep saying that, but I have to keep waiting, I guess. Okay, tarot. So I got this deck. This is a Yes. Oh my god, I can't remember. Is this the Kickstarter? The Trick or Treat Tarot? The Trick or Tarot, I suppose. No, maybe it's just from Duck Soup. I think maybe I just heard it was coming and then had that sort of anticipation. When are they going to release it? Because I don't think Duck Soup does Kickstarters. I don't think so. This is a really cute deck. There's another creator on Etsy right now who's doing these sort of like vintage art collage decks. And while I'm not generally a collage deck person, although the Muse Tarot might be changing my mind on that one, I do love vintage art. I collect vintage Christmas postcards, and I put them up at Christmas time. I just love the way they look. Maybe I'll show those in the holiday season just for fun. I would collect vintage Halloween cards if they weren't so unbelievably expensive. And I think I've seen on Amazon, they've got some reproductions for very cheap, just in a booklet that you can tear out. And I think I might do that. Um, I think using vintage art can be somewhat limiting in terms of what you end up with for your images. But I don't know, these are great. Like, look at the world. Look how adorable. There were a couple editions of this one. I just got the standard tarot size because it was cheaper, Canadian dollars, shipping, blah, blah, blah. And I think I liked the backs better too. I liked these little vintage cat bat Halloween decks with little jack-o'-lantern faces. And some of them are hilarious. I already showed the Cthulhu, like King of Cups. There's some just really funny ones. Let's see here. Like, my dog is chasing my cat. The Five of Swords. It's a kid in a pumpkin patch being chased by an evil pumpkin, and look at the collusion. Those pumpkins. It cracks me up. Two of Pentacles is a little like black cat in a costume. It's such a funny little deck, and I never look at it outside of October. The Seven of Swords. Can you see? He's got his head in his lap, and it's just like a family portrait. So parts of it are really sweet. Parts of it are quite macabre. And I like it. And there was one other really funny one, which of course, I like the Ten of Wands. Like, again, a little pumpkin man with his trick-or-treat bag burden overflowing. It just, the Clark bar spilling out. This cracks me up. It doesn't matter. There are a lot, and some of them are quite beautiful, like that High Priestess is quite pretty. So yeah, that's the Trick or Tarot. I haven't been on the Duck Soup website for a while. I assume you can still get that one. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm gonna throw this one in. This might be a controversial pick. But I'm gonna put I do. The Ellis Tarot is on my October list. The colors make me think of fall, and the creatures are sort of otherworldly. And I don't want to make an incorrect comparison, because some of them, like, that's really cute, actually. But some of these images are weird enough. I think this is my Deviant Moon. I don't like the Deviant Moon. I hear lots of people say, oh, I didn't like the Deviant Moon, and then I got it, and I loved it. But I just can't bring myself to take that step. I think it's too creepy. The boobs are too pointy for me. I don't know. Oops, sorry. I don't know what it is. And these are just a little bit otherworldly, just a bit odd. And the color palette is dark, and it makes me think of interesting. I'm just going to start flipping through here. I mean, some of them are bright, but I mean, that Three of Swords just has a real October Halloween feel for me. The Page of Pentacles. And I don't really use it outside of October, but I do like it. There's another really good Halloween. Oh, the Queen of Pentacles, I think. The queens are just looking you right in the eye. It's a bit confronting. I think it really works for October for me. And is Deviant Moony enough? Oh, I don't want to diminish the Ellis deck because it's a beautiful deck in its own right. There are a couple of different backings, and I wish I had the cat backing, which maybe was only on the bigger cards, and it was quite expensive for me to get this deck, and especially because I don't end up using it that much. Fully reversible. I like the cat backs better, and I wish I had that, but it's a pretty cool little deck. So that might be worth a look for you, and that for me fits into my Halloween October list. Okay, let's talk. I've talked some of these so much that I feel like everyone's gonna be like, yeah, big whoop. Robert M. Place, Vampire Tarot. I am lucky enough to have 2 copies of this deck. And it is a deck that you definitely need his book in order to understand the significance of all the people. He's such a good writer. It's a really great deck. I found one at a used bookstore in Prince Edward Island for $30, and then somebody was selling this one in my town for $20. So this one's a little bit more battered, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity. So it's one of my few duplicate decks. I love the artwork of Robert Place. I love the dark nature of this deck. I was thinking about modifying it. The cardstock is gross to me. I don't like the cardstock. It's too shiny. It's really hard to shift around in your hand. Look at the tower. And I don't know how I feel about the white borders, but I just don't want to change anything about it. I think it could be sort of disastrous. I also don't like the backs. They're his art, so they must fit with his art style, but they don't, to me, correspond with the fronts in the way I would like them to. Maybe just one of these vials or on the back, or maybe one of the flowers that he's got on many of the pip cards. Or I don't know. What else? I don't know. I don't want to tell Robert Place what to do. He's a genius, and I love his work. But I do love this deck in October, and this is one that goes beyond October for me. Just whenever I'm feeling sort of spooky and dark, and the Vampire Tarot is amazing, and I love it, and Robert M. Place is fantastic. So I think, and I feel that way about every deck of his that I have, even if I don't like some of the aesthetic things. I love, love, love him. Okay. Upside Down, Bohemian Gothic Tarot. I don't know where can I sit? This is a new deck to me. I just got it over the summer, and it was a bit of a FOMO purchase for me because I was afraid of missing out. I knew the deck was going out of print. I knew they didn't have very many left, and I knew people go crazy. This is my only Baba Studios deck. And we'll see. It is super fun for October. But I thought I can't go wrong. If I get it and I just don't connect with it, there are going to be people who want this deck. And it is everything people say. The cardstock is not thick, but it's beautiful. Look at that gorgeous lover's card. It came with 2 lover's cards, and I've just left them both in because I like them both. I like this one a little better probably, but they're quite different. The other lover's card is here, and they're really different in their tone. So to me, they're both different messages. The backs are gorgeous. This reminds me of that sort of Gothic style wallpaper or a tapestry that you might find in an old castle, or curtains, draperies. I like it way better than the one with the skulls and the bones. I just think there's so much vivid imagery on the front that I like the more subtle backs. And this is amazing for October. I am loving it. How much I'll use it outside of October, I don't know. And like everybody says, when you look at this deck, the colors are so much more vivid when you see them in real life. There's my computer and my lousy lighting setup can only do so much. There's one every time. There's one card in particular where the colors just blow my mind. It's one of the least dark cards of the well, that's a good example. Temperance. Look at living in Canada, that sort of pink sunrise in the wintertime is very familiar, and just I love it. 8 of Wands. This isn't the one I was thinking of either, but oh my god, the color. Well, blue is also my favorite color, so the palette of this deck just really works for me. I would just be surrounded with blue all the time if I could. There it is. The 6 of Swords. Looks like Banff. It's gorgeous. So super fun for October. And then we'll see. I can see this one moving beyond October for me. But it just depends on how I feel. Depends on how I feel and what kind of light I'm sitting in. Sorry, guys. Last one. No surprise from Allison. Halloween Tarot. I love this deck. And Tom Benjamin, I hear you, I feel you. This is a great, great deck. And I talk about it every time I make a video. And everybody's sick of me and nobody is surprised. Both versions I have, the tin, the adorable tin, and the regular size. But it's so much more. And this deck for me, when I'm in the mood, can go way beyond October. It's very rider weight. And it's extremely thoughtful, and it's so easy to just pass it off as a kitsch deck. I feel like I'm this deck's #1 advocate. That's maybe ridiculous to say. There's lots of people who like it. Tom Benjamin is clearly another. But I just love it. It is the greatest. So much so that a number of times I've gone to get the Dark Mansion Tarot and been like, will I use it? Because this little deck is so good. And also because Dark Mansion is quite expensive for me in Canadian dollars. So, I mean, if Dark Mansion were more readily accessible to me financially, then maybe it wouldn't be such a thing. And maybe I'll end up getting it because I do think it's gorgeous and I know people love it. And it's kind of more my aesthetic even than Bohemian Gothic. But this really scratches that itch for me. And then I saw that Tom Benjamin had used a Sharpie and blacked out all of the white borders, and it is stunning. I love it. It was said it was the most tedious project of his life, but I still might try it because it's so good and it's easily replaceable. If I don't like it, if I'm not good with the Sharpie, I can just get another one. So it's readily available on Amazon and whatever. So but this is my all-time favorite Halloween deck. It's one of my all-time favorite decks. And I don't usually go for kitsch, and I don't usually go for cartoons. It's just something about it. And I'm going to try this month to do a whole video on all of my love for this deck. And then maybe I can put it away and stop talking about it every single darn video before everybody unsubscribes. So anyway, oh my God, it's I gotta run. I gotta cook. I gotta cook. If you are in Canada, happy Thanksgiving. If you are not, happy October, and you still have Thanksgiving to look forward to, maybe if you're in the States. And I'll talk to you later. Bye.